Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. Jen and I are excited to be back on our leadership lunch chat for 2022. Oh, look, I put the banner wrong. It says 2021.
Oh,
You
how
have to.
fun was that? How classic. What a New Year's thing to do.
I know. And I even was thinking it when I was changing it
Doing it?
over,
Yeah, of
but didn't do it. So, oh, look at that. Emily's behind the scenes fixing it. Thank you, Emily.
course she is. The fixer.
There we go.
Everybody should have an Emily.
All what we need in 2022, someone to help us. So, anyways, first time we've been back together and ready for the new year. So, would love to just catch up with you. I know you took what 2 or 3 weeks off your business. So, how did that go? Did you stop working?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, I did stop working. I don't want to work during that time. I had to work a little at the end, when we were
Mhm.
wrapping up. I had to, make 401k deposits and approve payroll and, that sort of behind the scenes stuff, but not much. And I'm the one that checks the voicemail and the email. And there were a few things here or there that needed attending, but not much. Our clients are so awesome and they honor that time. And we do such, I think, a good job of communicating it ahead of time that people just know that we're going to be off and they leave us alone. We call it putting the business to sleep, and it
Yeah.
went to sleep. And but I have to tell you, it was about 2.5 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, 3 days, something like that, and it went by in 4 seconds. And some of it was just that I wasn't really prepared for the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
So as soon as we closed and I wrapped up loose ends, then I just had to like slap Christmas together, and that was a 2.5 day project of buying and wrapping and unboxing the stuff I bought online and all that. And and then we went to Palm Springs, California, and it was awesome. But the weather was a little cold, and we had rain, which we haven't normally had. But it was, we hiked and we had such fun. It was wonderful.
That's
But
awesome.
that went by quickly, and then we had a week off last week. And I think I've said this maybe in some prior streaming, but my dad had heart surgery, and so that's what that week was about. And it was, scary and just super powerful. My family was together. My brother came from Wisconsin, and we just really like worked on dad and mom.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what that week was, and he came through it great, and thanking God for that. And then bam, back at work,
Yeah.
and everybody is really focused on getting their initiatives underway, getting that last little bit of proactivity before they really get buried in their spring busy season. And so, you said you just got back to work, and I was like, it feels like 3 months ago, because
Yeah,
these
exactly.
5 days have been, action packed. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure after being off for that long,
Yeah. How
absolutely.
about
But
you? How was your time?
good. Yeah, so it was a little bit different than I had planned. So there were some family health things that happened. So, the trip we had planned, um, it was less of us there, but we
Yes.
made the best of it, and we really did have great weather.
Oh,
So
good.
it was 80 degrees and sunny every day.
I watched you. I followed you on Facebook and was like,
It was
she's having
amazing.
the weather I wish I had.
Yeah. So, and Florida, sometimes is unpredictable in December.
Yes.
So we were very fortunate. But I actually drove by myself the whole way, and that was a
Oh,
big deal because
yeah, that
the
is.
flights were ridiculous. So 15 the way there almost took 2 days because of how much traffic was driving down there. But it was a lot of fun and really, decompressed. Didn't, wasn't as busy of a vacation as I normally do. And it was really nice. I mean, really great time with my son and his friends. So just how important that downtime is, because as soon as you come back, it's as if it didn't happen, like you said.
Yes.
So it's really important for our soul to take that time off, and things do wait. The one thing I love about that time period is it does feel like the world goes still for a little bit. I mean, there are less emails, there are less, everyone's kind of
Yes.
trying to take some time off. And there's very few times during the year where you have like more silence than chaos or things,
Right.
people needing things. So I mean, it was to me great to have that silence for a little bit. And, like, my problem is as soon as I take that silence, before I went on vacation, one of the people that works for me, she started with me in May. And she was like, I'm really excited for you to take this time off. And I was like, so what you don't know is when I take time off, that's when ideas happen. So just
Exactly.
be prepared when I come back. Even if I don't intend, that's what happens, because it's one of those things where, you release your brain and then it starts solving. And there were a lot of things that needed to be solved. So I came back refreshed, but also re-energized on some initiatives. And we're really kind of moving forward on that. And that's why taking that time off is so important.
Yeah, sometimes, Amy, we talk about vision and teach vision as a leadership attribute and say how important it is, and some people are genetically called, or almost like they get visions, right? Um, they get this, these ideas come to them naturally, and other people, they don't get those, and they think, well, what can I do about that? And I always say the number one thing you have to do is stop and get out of your environment.
Right.
If you're in your day to day on your hamster wheel, forget it. I mean, they may come to you, but it's so much less likely than stepping away and, like going for a hike, or taking a week off or whatever.
Right.
That's when it all happens. And or going to a conference. I mean, you could go to a conference, and as long as you're not a dork and you don't sit in your room and work,
Right.
which is basically taking the hamster wheel to the conference.
Yes.
If you don't do that and you actually get out there and go to the sessions and sit and listen, you don't multitask, you're not on email while you're doing the sessions, you're not carrying the gerbil wheel on your back, as long as you don't do that, ideas will come to you. It's impossible for them not to. And I don't think we give ourselves enough of that space.
No, we really don't. And the other thing about that is, when you were saying that, is I think it's really important to observe where your strengths are. So not everybody is a visionary person, and what I'm not good at is the details. So I know I need someone to execute the vision. So it's okay that your, superpower is in the execution. Because I think too many times, people feel like, everybody's got to be the same, or, be on the same page. I was doing a group coaching session with some firms yesterday, actually kind of talking about this, but just the whole change management of transforming a practice. And the managing partner was talking about kind of the pushback he was getting from another partner. And, I talked about, there always has to be like the vision person, and there does need to be some pushback, because someone's got to think about the details and go, and that is creative, right? Like that is creative to think about the details and go, well, that's not going to work because of this or that.
Yes, of course.
Not like stopping the vision, but solving and making sure someone else is thinking about that. But what I had said to him is, I had this really hard project in one of my jobs, and it was just, I had this vision and people weren't seeing it, and it just wasn't going the way I'd hoped. And, I brought the whole team together and was like, we need to kind of rehash and think about what's going good, what's not, what are we learning? And, there started to be a lot of people going, I don't even know if we should do this, or blah, blah, blah. And my answer back to them was, my job is to make you uncomfortable. I'm not leading if I'm not making you uncomfortable, but we are going to do this. We just have to find a way that we can solve for it. There's never a no. There's like how do we accomplish it? It just might not be the way that we originally thought it would look like or what it was going to be. So when, you take these times and, step back, or these moments of strategy and planning that happen during this time, I think it's really important to get everybody's feedback and understand everybody's superpower and how they help push a vision forward, but also how you keep a conversation positive, so that the naysayers don't overrule, what you want to do to push something forward. So,
Oh
yeah.
man, yeah. I mean, resistance, right? That's what you're talking about, is
Yes.
resistance. And it's always there. And I mean, if you don't encounter some resistance, then you're not talking to all the people that need to change or need to participate in the change. So, like, you're preaching to the choir. And as we know, like you and I can preach to each other,
Yes.
that doesn't, that doesn't generally drive the change we're looking for. So, resistance is normal. We have to accept it. It's just how it goes. And getting good at being courageous to say what your thoughts are in the face of that, knowing pushback's coming, knowing not everybody's going to love you for the ideas or for the observations. Sometimes part of vision is just the observation of what's not working or what's possible.
Right.
And people don't like those observations. And I've spent my entire career sort of mustering up the courage to say what I feel like I need to say, knowing that acceptance will come from very few at first.
Yes.
And being convicted anyway, mustering it up and saying it, and then, being open to people modifying it and collaborating, but digging in a little bit when I really feel like this is the truth for what's going to come and where we need to head, and not caring that people say you're nuts, or, she's disruptive, or she's got, we want a fun retreat. We don't want an uncomfortable one, and I like to have a balance between uncomfortable and hopeful and inspirational, and a little funny. Let's laugh at ourselves a little, but not just fun or not just comfy. Because if it is, we're not getting anywhere.
For sure.
Yeah.
So just to shift gears a little, I know both of us kind of set intentions for the year. And taking that time away sometimes allows us to do that. So I'd like to start with you, of kind of your process of doing that, and what you chose for this year and why.
Okay. So I always choose 3 words at the beginning of every year, and the words choose me. I'm going to say that. I don't start like 12:31 at midnight or something and say, I got to get my 3 words. If I do, they don't come, or they feel forced, or they're not the right words. So I have to be sort of like sitting with it. I know I need them and they will come to me, and I'm listening and looking for them, but I'm not like forcing it. And so if you follow the history of our blog, you would see that sometimes I can write my 3-word intention blog, like the second week of January, and sometimes I will write it the second week of February, because they just haven't come. I can't see them. This year, I don't know the words yet. I know one of the words for certain, but I will tell you the ideas, because I'm playing with the words. Maybe you can help me with that a little bit. Okay. Maybe you're part of my process. Probably. So I don't know when. I'm going to say in the last 5 years, one of my words was joy. And I'm going to use and resurrect and place the intention of joy back into 2022. And so it's a definite word. And the reason, first of all, the year that I went on what I call my joy journey was fun. I had a ton of joyous moments because I looked for them. I wrote them down every single time I felt joy. I wrote it down, and then I would report quarterly on my, the things that caused it. And it was awesome to see all the things that were causing me to feel that feeling, like live music and, paddling and I don't know what all, running a race or whatever it was. I was getting joy from lots of stuff. And So I'm going to go on another joy journey. That's for sure. I started with like the word nature, but really I think what I'm going to do is have it be off road. I'm a road runner. I'm a classic road runner, but I want to do way more trail running this year.
Mhm.
I want to get myself on more trails than I have been making time for. I'm a hiker. I want to do a lot more hiking. I'm signing up for 365 miles of hiking this year, so that I can really make sure that I get out there inside of nature and off road and out of my norm. And then my third one, um, the word that keeps coming up for me is learn. I am a learner. Like that's one of my Gallup's, gifts or whatever, my 5 gifts from Gallup Strengths Finder, learner. So I'm always trying to read and learn and figure out new things. But I want to set some learning intentions
Mhm.
and very specific things. And like I'll tell you, it's so funny because as soon as I've been thinking about this, I hear people saying things they're learning. So I'm learning bar. I think we've talked about that, but the exercise technology of bar. And I've probably been to 22 bar classes since the second week of November, and it's incredible technology. And I've done tons of workouts, but I haven't done that one, and I really like it. So I'm learning that. But we were talking about things we've learned at a happy hour, Zoom happy hour for work. And Sarah Sims on our team said that she had just learned to make gravy. And I can make a roux and things like that, but my gravy skills are poor. And mostly because I am not that into meat
Mhm.
but I have family members who love gravy, especially my middle child. And I feel like maybe I should be a better mother and learn to make gravy. I'm serious. When I heard that Sarah Sims just learn to make gravy, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to really become like an awesome gravy maker so that I can make, biscuits and gravy. My middle kid loves it. My mother does too, by the way. So anyway, I'm going to look for unusual things to learn,
Okay.
not just the usual, because I'm a reader and, I can take a class or whatever, but I want to
Yeah.
think about kind of odd
Something out
things.
of the box.
Yes,
Yeah.
again, off-road learning, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way to look at that. So
Mhm.
anyway, those are my 3 intentions right now.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out exactly how to start getting in there on them other than signing up for that 365 hiking. And I've already done some trail running this year that I'm looking for those opportunities, but I gotta figure it out. The rest of it's
Yeah.
not yet pieced together. So what about you?
Well, I don't necessarily do three words, but the one thing I've been learning this year is salsa and bachata dancing, and that has been challenging as anything. I like found so I go to lessons, and those are good because they kind of choreograph you. But when you're like left to these social dancing, I'm like, like because as the woman, you're supposed to not think. Like you're not
Oh,
supposed to like think what the lead is going to do, and that's very hard for. It's actually a good mental exercise of just letting someone lead.
I know how awful. I know. Chronic overleaders are terrible dance partners if they're female.
and,
Terrible. I know.
and I went, and when I was in Florida, I was like, I'm gonna find one, and where they're strangers, and I left like, oh man, I got work to do. So
That's
still got a lot of
awesome.
work to do, but that's my learning.
I love that.
My 2 learning things this year is that, and I want to golf. Like, so I started golf lessons at the end of the season, but next year I want to like literally golf, like a whole thing. So
Yeah. Well, and I took golf in college. My dad was really a low handicap golfer. Has had he doesn't golf anymore, but he had such a love of the game for decades and decades. I mean, a deep love.
yeah.
And so he convinced me to take golf at Creighton University as my PE credit. And anyway, I was in there, by the way, with the Creighton basketball team. So like 6'8",
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
guys and Jen, and they whacked the ball very far, and I sucked. And I don't like, I'm such a perfectionist that if I can't be good at something pretty quickly, I hate the thing.
Well,
And
and that's the part of learning,
I
right? Like
know.
of not giving up,
I
like just because that's how I feel with dancing sometimes. Like
yes.
I'm like ready to give up, but I'm like, don't give up. Like
Yeah, don't
I
give up because
really enjoy it once I'm on a roll, but it takes a while. But anyway, so
well, on golf
my-
though, I just want to say to you, I
yeah.
carry around this desire also.
Oh,
And
well,
and
good.
I have a
Okay. Well, when
condo
we're at
in Palm
conferences,
Springs on a golf course. My husband's like, we're going to live here part time, and you're not going to golf, and I'm like,
yeah.
well, I don't know, So I've been thinking about that too. That's
Good.
fun.
Well, we'll push each
Maybe
other.
that'll be a
Yeah.
summertime pastime.
I actually enjoyed it. I just haven't played the actual game. So, but anyways, as far as my words, they kind of come to me. I had a hard year in 2020 and had set release of like releasing expectations and so forth. But then I found the work kind of screwed me up through the year because as COVID happened, I was like just releasing. Like I stopped. Like I was like, I don't want to keep trying. So it worked and it didn't work, and then I had to reset that word mid-year. Um, and then last year was kind of recover and reset of just the damage that had been done during that time to business and everything we both have worked for so long of now what are you going to do with this that we have a better idea. I mean, you don't know where the world's going, but and this year is trust that I am centering myself around because there's a lot of decisions that I'm having to make this year. And I'm just going to trust the universe and those decisions and know that, I've gotten this far.
Yeah.
It's like some of those things you have to trust in yourself, trust in your community, the people around you, and all the work you've done thus far. So, I think that's the word I'm using this year, and I think instead of, a lot of times we have the fear of the unknown, even with COVID spiking again, there's so much fear. And I think coming back to the word trust to me is a more positive way of looking at it of, there's a reason for everything. And we have to trust in ourselves to get through times like this. So that's where I'm going with.
I love it. And trust the experts, maybe
Yeah.
and trust the process, whatever it is, even though it's rocky, like your salsa process or me thinking about golf again.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few people who pick up a club and they're awesome right away.
Right.
It's the ultimate in repetition makes better. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, cool. I love it. I love your intention for sure. That's great.
All right. Well, we are over time, but it was our first time back. But we would love to hear your word, your intention word as well. So leave us comments and we will be back next week.
See y'all.